Okay, so this video today is just going to simply talk about Spanish pronouns. Now, a part of learning, we always have to connect things to things you already know. Therefore, we're going to connect what you know already, English, to Spanish, what's new. Okay, so let's really quick talk about the English pronouns that you already know. Now, as we do this, what we're always going to constantly go back to is a set of 6 boxes. So this is what it'll look like. Now that you started with your set of 6 boxes, what I want you to do in each one of those boxes is to simply write down the single and the plural English pronouns. We'll do single in this left column, plural in the right column. First person, second person, and then third person. Okay? First person singular will be I in English. Okay? Second singular would be you, and then the third is going to be the multiple forms, the he, she, and it, depending on the gender. Okay. Now we're also going to put the plural ones in here. The plural form of I. So if I'm in a group with other people, it's going to be we. If it is you and other people that you're in a group with, it will be y'all. We'll say y'all, sort of like Southerners do. Okay. And then he, she, and it, we are going to say they. Now, we already know that stuff. Perfect. Now, let's pair that into Spanish pronouns. The Spanish pronouns, let's put those in a box right next to these ones here. Okay? The Spanish pronouns. The Spanish pronouns. Now, simple as this. We're going to connect this top left box to this top left box. We're going to connect this middle left box to this middle left box, middle left, or bottom left to bottom left, top right, so on and so forth. The boxes connect. Spanish pronouns, English pronouns. So the Spanish pronoun, that means I in Spanish, is yo, y-o, yo. The one that means you is going to be tu. Now we're going to come back to that one because there's actually 2 Spanish pronouns that mean you. Okay, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Now, he, she, and it. The he is L. E with an accent, L. Now, you notice that tu, T-U, the also had an accent. That accent simply tells you where to put the emphasis or the stress of a word. L, it's the same thing. You're putting the accent and the stress on this E. Okay, she in Spanish is ella. And then it is going to be combined into both of those, so we're not going to do it. Now, there's going to be a bonus that we're going to put down here, and it's sort of different. We're going to put usted. Now, usted means you, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. Yo, okay? Now, which one means we? The plural form of yo, it's going to be nosotros. There's also another one, nosotras. Then, plural form for y'all is going to be vosotros. And then vosotras. Then the plural form for they, there's going to be 2 of them. We're going to have one be masculine, ellos, and one be feminine, ellas. And then let's go back to plural form of usted. We're going to have and write down as ustedes. Ustedes. Okay. Now, those are your Spanish pronouns. Okay, now let's continue on. We've got our Spanish pronouns, we've got our English pronouns. Just sort of rewrote them so that it's a little clearer as to what each Spanish pronoun means. So, Spanish pronouns, let's review. Pronunciation for this one is yo. Go and say that. Yo. Next one is tu. That's the you, and the you informal. And we'll talk about that in a moment. El, ella, and usted. So we got yo, tu, el, ella, and usted, all as part of single Spanish pronouns. Now, the plural ones, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellas, and ustedes. Now, let's talk about the definition for each. Specifically, let's talk the tu and then the usted right here. Both of those mean you. Okay, one is informal and one's formal. Let's take a look. Tu means you informal. Now, a word that's informal, this you is going to be utilized when we're talking to somebody that we know, that we already have good relationships with. So our friends, so it'd be somebody that we're well acquainted with. Now the you formal, so the usted, the you formal, will be utilized when you're trying to show somebody respect. For instance, you'd be utilized when you're talking to the President of the United States, somebody in authority over you, maybe a teacher, a principal, so on and so forth. Now, that's the you informal versus you formal. So we have to make sure we know what our context is. Now, nosotros means we. Now, you notice there's two of them. What I want you to do is take a look at the ending of both of those, os and then as. In Spanish, your typical rule is going to be that if a word ends in o, it typically is a masculine noun, okay? If it ends in an a, it's a feminine noun. Now, this applies to nouns. If it ends in an o, it's masculine, good. If it ends in an a, you got it, it's feminine, okay? Now, if it ends in an s, okay, or if it ends in an es, it's the same as in English. If it ends in an s or an es, it represents that it is plural. Okay, so for instance, nosotros, it's a group of all men. So the O tells us it's a masculine group. S, it's more than one person, it's plural. We already knew that though. Okay, nosotras, feminine group. Now, what about if it's mixed? Okay, you could have 100 women and one guy, but all you would continue to go back to the nosotros form. That's just how they do it. Okay, vosotros, very similar. Notice one of them has os, the other one has as. The os, because of the o, it makes it masculine. The s makes it plural. So vosotros, y'all. It's a group of all guys that you're talking about, or just one guy in a group of all ladies. It doesn't matter how many ladies. As long as there's just one guy, you got to use that vosotros. Vosotras, the a tells us it's feminine. The s tells us it's plural. Notice down here, ellos, same thing. The O, it's the masculine form, so they, masculine. Ellas is they, feminine. Now, that is your Spanish pronouns.